Hello and welcome to the World Nuclear Association Net Zero Nuclear Pavilion, here at COP30 in Belém, Brazil. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Professor Arima, who is a board member of the Japan Atomic Industrial Forum and also visiting professor at Tokyo University. Professor Arima, delighted to be here with you again. We have both been to a number of these COPs now. I wonder if you could give me your reflection on how the treatment of nuclear energy and the perspective of nuclear energy has changed over the years.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jonathan. And my perspective is, global context is changing, and we are now observing a new energy landscape. And perhaps it is due to Ukraine war and Hamas-Israel war and various kind of, geopolitical tension and geopolitical energy risk. And on the other hand, the call for higher ambition level is continuing under Paris Agreement. And then it is very much hard to balance energy security and climate action as well as affordable cost. So nuclear regains attention as massive, stable, and carbon-free baseload power. And of course, renewable remains to be very much important, but renewable alone cannot solve the problem due to its intermittency and grid constraint problems. And looking at the debate in COP, I think turning point was COP28 when global stocktake was held. And the large attention was put on the fossil fuel phase-out problems there. And the US and the EU at that time strongly pushed for immediate fossil fuel phase-out. On the other hand, Russia and Saudi Arabia and other oil-producing countries strongly reacted to that call, saying that we should focus on CO2 emissions rather than particular energy type. But the less attention was paid to, momentum for nuclear. For example, many countries participated in the voluntary pledge to triple nuclear capacity between now and 2050. And most notably, for the first time, nuclear was regarded as zero and low carbon energy technologies together with renewable and CCS and hydrogen. That was a very much remarkable development looking at the past COP event. So I think that was a very much turning point by putting more positive light to nuclear. I participated in COP negotiations for many, many years. And I still recall my experience in COP6- and COP7 when the treatment of nuclear was a very, the contentious issue, whether or not nuclear should be eligible for Kyoto credit. And in the end, nuclear was, substantially excluded from the Kyoto credit. But looking at the current situation, that nuclear is equally regarded as zero-emission technologies with renewable. So that is a really change of the environment for nuclear. And I think, the various, the reasons could be explained for such a change. First, need to mass-scale carbon-free power for the sake of, more ambitious mitigation objectives, and also desire to reduce fossil import dependency because of its geopolitical risk. And finally, rising understanding among policymakers and the public. And this is, in short, represents a shift of energy transition debate from somehow ideology to pragmatism.
So you mentioned there the tripling nuclear declaration. Of course, one of the signatories to the declaration is Japan. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the situation in Japan with regards to nuclear energy policy.
Yeah, and this February, Japanese government adopted the 7th Strategic Energy Plan. And it is also very much remarkable because we first time removed a long-standing language that reducing nuclear dependency as much as possible. This was somehow the curse since 2012. And new stance is not nuclear or renewable, but renewable and nuclear. So it is not binary language, but we are looking at both low carbon technologies as equal status. And in 2040, nuclear is expected to occupy 20% of the total power generation. but the total power generation in 2040 will be much higher because of the data center or AI or semiconductors and so forth. And a background of this change of the environment for nuclear in Japan is, first of all, energy price, in particular power price is very much high in Japan compared with other countries. And in particular, it is hitting household and also industry sector. And regions with nuclear restarts, such as Kansai area or Kyushu area, they are relatively enjoying lower electricity prices. So that has changed the psyche of Japanese consumer. And also, Germany has been regarded as a model for many years for, say, nuclear phase-out country. But now, looking at the situation in Germany, they are now very much suffering from high electricity cost together with industry flight risk. So all in all, I think Japanese consumers' psyche towards nuclear is changing. That is quite evident from various media surveys. And in Japan's the 7th Energy Strategic Energy Plan, they have set out several scenarios and achieving 70% reduction of energy-related CO2 by 2040. And all of them assume very much, the ambitious cost reduction of various, the low carbon technologies like a renewable or CCS or the hydrogen and so forth. But what is very much important here is the Japanese government also set the additional risk scenarios when such a low carbon technology cost may not go down as expected. So in that case, the role of nuclear is even more important if Japan sticks to the ambitious emission reduction goals. In other words, if nuclear cannot play a role, it would be very much challenging for Japan to achieve even ambitious emission reduction goals. So, and I think we need to consider the strategic implications of Japan's new energy plan. It is very much, encouraging that Japanese government put more positive light to nuclear. But in order to make the nuclear really happen, then government needs also prepare the enabling policy environment, in particular for new construction of nuclear power plant. To do so, we need to have the long-term investment recovery mechanism for nuclear projects, and also rationalize safety regulation based on cost-effective measures. And third, we need to also maintain 3+3 framework, safety, energy security, economic efficiency, and environment. But at the same time, we need to review the unlimited liability for nuclear power producers. So that kind of enabling policy environment is indispensable. And above all, it is indispensable that the Prime Minister himself or herself has very much strong determination to use nuclear. Unfortunately, we have Sanae Takaichi, new female Japanese Prime Minister. She's a great fan of nuclear, and she's also a great fan of fusion. But she looked at the energy security as a paramount priority for Japan, because Japan is suffering from a high energy cost compared with other Asian countries. So Japanese government needs to regularly review the cost comparison with other countries and also prepare enabling environment for nuclear, which could be a good solution for simultaneous pursuit of energy security and climate mitigation and the energy affordability.
Now that's a very good point. There is a real need to ensure that energy policy not only considers the cleanness of the energy, but also the security and the cost.
Exactly.
So good to see that's happening in Japan. You've set out a very clear vision of the way in which energy strategy is planned in Japan. But I wonder if you have any reflections more broadly on the future of nuclear energy at these COPs or in the world in general.
Yeah, I think that the momentum for nuclear is also increasing. As a reason why I have explained to you, such as the more geopolitical tension or higher call for higher ambition, and also the increasing, attention to affordability in many countries, not only developing countries but also in developed countries. So that is why many countries are looking at nuclear in the more positive light. But again, as I said, for Japan, in order to ensure new construction of nuclear power reactors, then the government and also industry needs to prepare the enabling environment, and more private and public partnership would be necessary, in particular for developing the new and innovative reactor technologies, including SMR and so on, and also a new potential for nuclear for producing hydrogen and so forth. So that kind of innovative action is indispensable. Otherwise, I think the bulk of the incremental nuclear capacity will come from China. So that is not ideal for all over the world.
Well, yes, you've certainly set out what's needed for the nuclear industry to do. There's plenty of opportunity, but plenty of challenges as well. Professor Arima, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much indeed.